Life is always working out for me, even when it doesn't look like it, even when I don't understand it yet. Over time, I've noticed something. I don't just experience my life, I experience what I expect to see. And the more I've paid attention to that, the more I've realized how much of my day is shaped before anything even happens. So I'll ask you, is life working out for you? Welcome back to the Motivated Savages podcast, where we live bold, lead fearless, and ignite our path forward. I'm Jody Savage, and today is one of those conversations that feels simple at first. But the more you sit with it, the more it starts to shift how you move through your life. This isn't something I figured out all at once. It's something I've been paying attention to for a long time. Years. Decades even. And it didn't show up in a big, obvious way. It showed up in small moments first. Moments that didn't seem important at the time. But when you start connecting them, you realize they've been shaping your experience all along. I've been noticing how quickly I decide what something means. Something happens, and almost instantly, there's a story attached to it. It's fast, automatic. Most of the time, you don't even realize it's happening. And once that meaning is there, everything that follows starts to line up with it. Your mood shifts. Your energy follows. Your next decision moves in that direction. Even what you notice next starts to match that first interpretation. And I think we all have ways of seeing life that we've been collecting for a long time. Over time, I started to notice there are certain thoughts that tend to run in the background for me. Not something I sit down and practice, just things that have become familiar. I find myself thinking, I have time for everything I need to get done, even on days that look full. Or, I am happy, I am healthy, and I am wealthy. Not as something I'm trying to convince myself of, just something I return to. And of course, life is always working out for me. And what I've noticed is that when those thoughts are there, they quietly shape what I pay attention to. They don't change everything around me, but they change how I move through it. The other day, I stopped into a convenience store to grab a slice of pizza and a soda. The cashier rang it up. She paused and looked at the screen. And she said, "I didn't know we had a deal on pizza and soda. You just saved $1.50. She looked at her coworker, and he didn't know either. I laughed, and I just said, "This is just how my life works. Life is always working out for me." She laughed, I laughed, and that was it. But what stayed with me wasn't the $1.50. It was how quickly my mind went to, of course it did. That reaction didn't come from that moment. It came from repetition, from seeing enough of those small things that it no longer felt surprising. And once you start noticing it, it shows up everywhere. Let's talk parking spots. I can pull into a full lot and somehow there's a spot. Traffic? Things tend to move. Not perfectly, but I'm rarely stuck the way other people seem to be. Even going out to eat, the food is always good. And I know how that sounds. But these are the kinds of moments that build something over time. because someone else could walk through those same situations and come away with something completely different. They'd notice what didn't work, what was frustrating, what was off. And that becomes the pattern they carry forward. Once I started noticing this in my own life, I started seeing it everywhere. Like when you're running late and suddenly every light feels red. Or when you're in a hurry and the line you pick is the one that barely moves. What about those days that start off slightly off and things just keep stacking? A comment lands wrong, something doesn't go as planned, your energy shifts, and the day follows. But the opposite is just as real. You wake up feeling good, and things seem to line up. Conversations are easier. Timing works. You move through things with less resistance. Same kinds of moments, same kinds of days, different starting point, different experience. I see this most clearly with the people closest to me. My husband and I joke about this all the time because we can be in the exact same situation and experience it completely differently. He'll say, "My food is always messed up when I go out to eat." And one time, he ordered a cheeseburger, and it came out with the plastic still on the cheese, fully melted into it. We looked at each other and laughed, because in that moment, it felt like confirmation for him. Just like my moments feel like confirmation to me. The same restaurant, same table, same exact situation, different experiences. And somehow, life keeps meeting both of us there. And this isn't just about small things. There have been bigger moments where it would have been easy to go the other way. Buying our house in a terrible market is one of them. Everything about the situation said it was going to be hard. There were plenty of reasons to think it wouldn't work. But I didn't move through it like that. There was this steady sense of it's going to work out. Not because I had certainty, not because everything was lining up perfectly, but because that's how I learned to meet things. And it did. It worked out. Not perfectly, not without uncertainty, but it worked out. And when I look back on it, it feels no different than the smaller moments. Different scale, same pattern. I've seen this over and over again. If this gave you something to think about, share it with someone who might need it today. When you're moving through life expecting lack, you notice everything that confirms it. When you're moving through life expecting things to work, you start to see that show up everywhere. Same moment, same world, different focus, different experience. After a while, it doesn't feel like coincidence. It feels like something you've been participating in. There's something else I've noticed over time. It's not just that we notice things that match what we expect. It's that we start to trust those patterns as truth. If you've spent enough time thinking, things don't work out for me, I always hit traffic, my food is always wrong, people always let me down, you don't question it anymore. You don't even hear it as a thought. It just feels like reality. And then life keeps handing you moments that fit it. Not all the time, but just enough to keep that pattern going. And the same thing happens on the other side. When you start to feel like things tend to work out, timing usually lines up. I'll figure this out. You don't need everything to be perfect. You just need enough moments to keep reinforcing it. And those moments start to stand out more. They stick with you longer. You remember them. I think this is why people feel stuck sometimes, because both experiences feel true. Someone can point to all the ways life hasn't worked for them, and they're not wrong. And someone else can point to all the ways things have worked out, and they're not wrong either. It's the same world. It's just different evidence. And over time, you start collecting that evidence. You build a case for the way you see your life. And once that case is built, you keep adding to it without even realizing it. This is where it gets interesting, because the shift isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's not about ignoring when things go wrong. It's about noticing what you've been collecting, what you've been reinforcing, what you've been proving to yourself over and over again. And then asking, is this the direction I want to keep going? Here's what I want you to try. Don't change everything. Don't overhaul your thinking. Just catch one moment today when something small happens and your mind immediately labels it. Pause for a second and ask yourself, what did I just make that mean? And then give yourself another option, not a forced one, not something you don't believe, just a slightly different way to see it. And then keep going, because this builds quietly, one moment at a time. Life is always working out for me. And the more I've lived that, the more I've seen it. So I'll ask you one more time. Is it for you? I'm Jody Savage, and this is the Motivated Savages podcast. Live bold, ignite your path. That's the Savage way. If this message resonated, share it with someone who's been telling themselves a story that might not be serving them anymore. And if you want to carry this message with you, check out our merch line at motivatedsavages.com. We've designed gear to remind you to live bold every day. Together, we're building the Savage community, a movement of people choosing purpose, growth, and bold living.